Welcome to Give Me 5 Minutes, WTM Africa's on-site podcast, where we capture the pulse of the showroom floor with dynamic conversations. I'm your host, Ondela Mlandu, broadcasting live from our very own Sound Garden right here in Cape Town. Let's dive in. Joining me is Mr. E-Kow Sampson, who is the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority in charge of operations. So please tell us, what brings you to WTM Africa and why is it important to elevate our Africa agenda?
Thank you very much and thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure when we participate in WTM Africa because it's one of the premier marketing destinations, and then also gives a great opportunity to Ghana to be part of the experience. You know, Ghana has always been, especially those in the south of Africa, has been a great point when it comes to tourism. And South Africa has always been among our top 10 source markets. So anytime we had experience in coming to WTM, we don't take it lightly. And then also, we realize that when we're talking about African tourism, Ghana has been the nerve center of African continental free trade area. And that gives a lot of opportunity in terms of businesses. And South Africa, for instance, have invested heavily in Ghana. MTN and other great business entities within the center part of it. But we also don't look at that all. We also have a lot of business linkages with other African. So if definitely we're looking at Africa tourism and what the African continental free trade area seeks to do, then certainly we need to be part of this experience so that we can holistically promote the destination. And apart from that, we also noticed that Ghana has certain unique proposition in terms of tourism, the culture, the heritage, the diaspora engagement that makes it unique. You know, why? Because we have most of the iconic forts and castles where our dear global family transited to the world. We have most of them in Ghana. So that makes it a very unique area where the diaspora engagement can resonate.
Yes.
And then also the south of, because we're also the first Black African country to gain our independence in 1957. So that's all give us that leverage to market the destination. And then WTM is one of the major focus. Since it's more Afro-centric, we see it as a great opportunity to be part of the experience.
Recently, there was an announcement that there's a visa-free entry for South Africans to go to Ghana. How do you think that's going to change things in terms of the relationship building that happens between these two countries?
Yes, so Ghana has been very consistent when it comes to opening up our borders. You know, it dates back to our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was one of the founding fathers of African emancipation, African unity, you know, African Union and all this. He proposed all these things. And then if you realize that visa on arrival, we were one of the few countries that came out of the concept of visa on arrival for the whole African destination. And then also announcing using May 25th as one of the area where we open our borders, because we have been championing borderless Africa, you know, as part of the Africa perspective, what we want to do. So certainly opening the borders, opening the visas for all Africans to be part of it, is just resonate to the African Renaissance, or if you like, African diaspora relationship, which we are trying to have very hard to do, and then also see Ghana as one of the champions of Africanism.
What are some of the most amazing ways that, is Ghana selling Africa and, as a beautiful travel destination? What are some of the strategies that you've implemented?
There have been so many strategies. First and foremost, as I said, because our politically, we're the first in south of the Sahara to gain our independence. You can see that our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has championed African emancipation, and if it resonates what he said, that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it's connected to the total emancipation of the whole of Africa, just to quote him. So, seriously speaking, when you want to talk about African emancipation, you realize that Ghana has been the nerve center. So you realize that even just recently, the year of return, where we call the whole of Africans to Africans in the diaspora to come to Ghana to celebrate with us the 400 years of the first enslaved African landing in U.S. A lot of African Americans came to Ghana, So Ghana has also positioned itself as the gateway of Africa.
Absolutely.
So, and then also being in terms of apart from the political emancipation, we're also looking at economic emancipation. So you can see that the headquarters of African Continental Free Trade Area in Accra has also put us in a very unique way in championing African emancipation and then resonating the experiences that African provide to the world. So we have always used that. And I always look back so many years after the 14th century forts and castles. So when you see all the forts and castles, in fact, Ghana has more than any other country in Africa. If you look at the size of it in the 14th century, the monuments that they built, the Portuguese, the Danish, the English, and all those dotted around the Gold Coast, as it was called, you can see that at that time, if you bring in that perspective, it was like a World Trade Center.
Wow.
Okay? So the fact that we had a lot of these forts and castles dotted in that the size of it in the 14th century means that Ghana was a very prominent trade nerve. Unfortunately, it became one of the exit points for most of the African Americans into African diaspora in diaspora.
Yeah.
And then you can see just recently when they needed leadership to champion reparation, our president, His Excellency Mahama, was called to lay that reparation agenda on the United Nations, and it was generally accepted. It tells you the leadership of Ghana. Even though it's a very small country, it tells you the leadership of Ghana, and that's what we leverage on. Apart from our culture, diaspora engagement, heritage tourism, to propose to the world, and that's what we are doing now.
That's incredible. And I know there's that big festival that all the young people tend to go to in December.
Exactly.
Yes.
Out of the year of return, that amazing Afrochella, you can see that now we have positioned December in Ghana as one of the iconic events in Africa, where a lot of the third generation Ghanaians and Africans emerge for unique experience.
Yes.
And you can see a lot of activities, a lot of events, cultural immersions here and there. Very unique in Africa.
They come home. Everyone returns home eventually.
Yes, exactly. Everybody comes in. And I want to invite you, I want to use your medium to invite all the Africans that the December in Ghana is an experience for all Africans. It's an immersive experience for all Africans. And that, you need to be part of the experience.
Yes.
And it's very unique. The whole atmosphere in Ghana changed into a new thing altogether.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to experience Afrochella in December.
Exactly
and
so.
experience Ghana for what it has to offer.
Exactly so. So you see a lot of African beats, okay? You see the culture immersions, and then others. So every everybody used to be part of that experience. And that is African, as African celebrations. And then not only celebration, but for people to also relax and then see their roots.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it meant to be.
The essence of Africa.
Exactly so.
So thank you so much for having a chat with us.
Thank you.
And we will see you in Ghana.
Yes. And you are invited, especially in December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn any space into a content powerhouse. With Orange Orbit's mobile podcast studio, we bring the full setup to you. Professional mics, multi-camera video, and an on-site technician. Perfect for exhibitions, events, and brand activations. You focus on the conversation. We handle the rest. Recording, editing, and delivery ready for your channels. Orange Orbit Productions. Real conversations, real content, anywhere.